Spartans! What is your profession?
I'm not their echo, I'm my own sound. My roots in the earth, my head unbound. They whisper and judge, but I'm not their clay. I mold my tomorrow, I'm done with today. I walked away from their parade. Their words like stones that ricochet. They call me lost, but I am found on this quiet road where I'm unbound. I walked away through the quiet of the storm. Their voices loud, but my soul felt warm. They point their fingers, call me the stray, but I found my freedom when I walked away, yeah.
I walked away from their parade. Their words like stones that ricochet. They call me lost, but I am found on this quiet road where I'm unbound. I walked away through the quiet of the fray. Their voices loud, but my soul felt warm. They point their fingers, call me the stray, but I found my freedom when I walked away. They try to shame the soul that strays. When you carve your path, they turn away. An outsider's heart beats loud and clear. No chains can hold what's free from fear.
Their dreams aren't mine, they never fit. A puzzle forced, it just won't click. I see the world through my own eyes, not filtered through their scripted lies.
Their dreams were cages I couldn't call home. I saw a horizon where I could roam. They don't understand what they can't contain, but my path is my own through joy and pain. They try to shame the soul that strays. When you carve your path, they turn away. An outsider's heart beats loud and clear. No chains can hold what's free from fear.
Let them whisper, let them glare. I've grown strong in this thin air. The crowd may roar, but I won't bend. My road's my own until the end. They call me the outsider for chasing my flame. Their rules and their boxes I refuse to claim. I won't be a shadow, I'll carve my own way. They can try to shame me, but I won't obey. They call me the outsider for chasing my flame. Their rules and their boxes I refuse to claim. I won't be a shadow, I'll carve my own way. They can try to shame me, but I won't obey.
They try to shame the soul that strays. When you carve your path, they turn away. An outsider's heart beats loud and clear. No chains can hold what's free from fear.
So call me the outsider if that's what I'll be. I'd rather be lost if it means I'm free. Their maps are for them, I'll chart my own sea. I walked away, now I'm finally me.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. How is everyone doing this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon, wherever you are watching from? Hopefully you are all doing well. I am Tech Coach Ralph. We are engineered to win. Or, as some people like to say, I do my very, very best to annoy you to be uber successful.
Bruh.
That is what I do. We have an amazing, amazing show lined up for us today. So I'll start off like this. I was torn. My heart was in two places. I wanted to try again Kilo code to see, because last week we tried to set up some unit tests. We had some issues with it. I don't know if it was more of, I think you should have been able to do it, but setting up tests in doing anything in JavaScript and Node is a little bit complicated because for some reason they still have this back and forth issue between ESM and Common JS and some not. It annoys the hell out of me, right? So we had those issues, but I was wondering, what about if we tried to use Kilo Code to update some unit tests on a project that already exists? How would that fare out? So what I want to do, I want to take another crack at it, right? I want to take another crack at it. I want to use it for a project that already has some semblance of unit test and see how that goes, and maybe it can update it. We shall see, right? So, but I was torn between doing that and looking into how we could migrate a Lovable built application to another infrastructure, which is more kind of on the DevOps side, but I do think the unit test is kind of on the DevOps side as well. We'll talk about it once we get to it. But I was like, well, let's investigate how we can take an app built on Lovable and move that over to a platform such as AWS or maybe a Google Cloud platform. Maybe a Microsoft Azure. So I was torn between the two, but I said, you know what? Let me do this. Let's run back Kilo Code. What? I don't have a question about Microsoft Azure. All right, where'd you come from? All right, Gemini, you're gonna have to go. All right. Anyway, sorry, that's never happened before, right? Anyways, like I was saying. But I was torn because I'm like, which one do I do? But I said, you know what? Let's run back Kilo Code. Let's try to see if we can, let's try to use it a little bit more, see what we're able to accomplish. And then next week, my goal is let's investigate how can we move an app built on, let's say Lovable, and move that into another cloud environment, research it, start it, see what we can do. All right. That's what I was torn between today. But we're going to stick with the unit test because as these projects are getting completed, we really, really need to make sure that our application is locked down, secure, make sure have our CI/CD pipeline flowing, all of that good stuff, right? So that is the plan for today. But first, you know that we got to get our token hit in, because I am a functional token fiend. Right. So I gotta get my reps in, my AI reps, my vibe coding reps in there, so we're gonna do that first today. Then we're gonna transition into working on the unit test that the test exists on a project, but they're kind of failing. And we're gonna see, because I remember I started them off with Devin, and some of them passed, some of them failed. But I'm curious, what if we were able to take those tests, put them in Kilo Code, and see what Kilo Code is able to do with them, because they should already be running and not failing as they were last week and trying to set up on a new project. We shall see. I am not an AI platform loyalist. I'm not a loyalist of anything for the most part, right? But I am platform agnostic. I will use Gemini. I will use ChatGPT. I will use Claude. I will use Perplexity. I will use Lovable. I will use Devin. I haven't made my way to Make yet, but I will use Manus, for instance. I am platform agnostic. All right. Because I go for the best tool and the best and affordable, tool. And I just make them all work together. I use my own human ingenuity and the creativity and the power of these platforms to work together, right? So we're going to work on the unit test, see if we can use it to make our existing tests better, pass, and add more. That's the goal. We should see how far we go. So that's going to be a second episode of using Kilo Code. See if it can get us across the finish line. If not, then maybe we'll just table it, and maybe in the future it gets better. I'm already kind of salty about it because they do not have a WebStorm integration, and that might be more on the WebStorm end instead of on the Kilo end. But being that I am subjected to use VS Code, it just leaves a salty taste in my mouth. It is what it is. It is what it is, and we have some absolutely fascinating break time topics as well. We'll get into that, but let's get started with the show before we can do any work. Just stop it right now. Before we can do any work, I gotta take care of some housekeeping. Acknowledge my friends from around the world. We are global. We are like, and then let me just throw this in here real quick, right? I've been noticing that I have been getting comments in foreign languages. Yep, I have. And at first I thought those comments were like, because I've gotten comments in foreign languages before, but they were like more spammy-ish or rude and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, but then there were actually valid comments. I was like, hey, look at that. Hey. We are global. And I was like, how am I getting these comments in foreign languages, and how are they actually accurate? How do they understand what I'm saying? I know they're not just reading the captions, but guess what? YouTube just recently enabled auto dubbing of audio. So that means they are listening to my videos across the entire world in their native language, and they're able to interact with Tech Coach Ralph, leaving me comments. It is. I am so happy that we're able to add value across the world. So with that being said, I want to say a big thank you so much to all of the subscribers to the channel, those who have been with me for a very long time, those who are brand new, those who are watching from the United States, those who are watching from Europe, those who are watching from Taiwan and China, and wherever you lay your head at night. I want to be the first to tell you, thank you so much. I appreciate every last one of you.
I appreciate you.
And we had a vibe code and chill session yesterday inside of the Tech Coach Ralph Patreon, and we had a blast. And Junior was there. And just ask him yourself, how was it? The level of information that was shared. What I took us through, I showed how I troubleshooted my way to success with the Lovable platform by using the console logs, using the network logs, using my background, my history in web development and QA to figure out exactly what the issue was that Lovable was not able to find on this first 16 credits for the first 1 hour and 55 minutes. Lovable was not able to figure it out, but I did not give up, and I went back and forth, and until we narrowed down the issue and we found exactly what it was, and Lovable fixed it, and now everything is working perfectly. But I took the time to walk everyone who was there through the prompts that I used, and the investigation that I performed in order to fix the issue, because that would have been a critical issue, a deployment blocking issue, and I walked us through there. Also, you guys, maybe you guys are, maybe you guys aren't familiar with David Yeti. He was there as well, and an idea that he had, we came up with a prompt to create the prototype, and it was absolutely fascinating. I pray and hope that he takes that prototype and he runs with it, and I would be more than happy to collaborate with him on it. But I hope he runs with it and he creates an amazing app out of it. So it's like liquid. It's like digital gold. It is like digital gold. The idea and the prototype that we came up with, I was impressed. I was like, man, I really wish I knew more about this so I could actually build it out. But it was just that cool. I showed some applications that we're working on, and the content creation app that I am just about done. But I'm debating if I want to release that or if I want to keep it close to the heart, because it is that much valuable to me. But I showed all of that stuff, answered your questions, showed how I use Manus how I prompt, how I use Manus to come up with prototype ideas and all of that good stuff, building valuable things. We spent almost like a little bit over maybe 2.5 hours. I'm gonna be uploading the video. Probably Tuesday morning for Patreon members to be able to play back and watch and see all the stuff that we did. All right, that was yesterday. So I gotta say a big shout out to all of my tech barbarians, my tech project members, my technical explorers, all of the Tech Coach Ralph Patreon members. Shout out to you. We are the best.
We the best.
And of course, shout out to the Tech Mercenaries. Those are the YouTube channel members who allow me to come on here almost every single day and add value to people across the entire world. We have the ability to reach billions and billions of people. And guess what? We certainly will, with valuable information to help a select few level up, grow, AI game, tech game, infrastructure, all of that good stuff. That is my goal. Mindset. If you have the right mindset, you can accomplish anything and everything. So that's why I focus on mindset first. And then we're like, let's get this tech work. Let's get this tech bag.
Money. Hey.
That's all I got. That's all I got to say about that. So with that being said, let's jump in real quick to our upcoming show schedules tomorrow morning. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be going live with our morning show. We're going to continue working on this N8N Nodemation marketing workflow. Why am I mad? So the reason I'm upset, right? On Thursday night, I had a whole plan to build out a cybersecurity Nodemation workflow, but that plan was destroyed because I was not able to access it. And that also happened to me on Wednesday morning, but it started working. Well, guess what? It turns out all the investigation that I did, that was not the issue. So, what was the issue? For some weird and crazy reason, my Chrome browser could not access the N8N, my N8N installation. I don't know why. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Every investigation I opened, and you know how I figured it out? Do you want to know how I figured it out, right? I went to another computer of mine and I just typed it in thinking that it was going to work, and it loaded. I was pissed off. I was like, you know what? Just don't load. Just give me that. Just don't load. And then I went back to this computer and I went to it again. It still didn't load on my computer in my Chrome browser. I switched to Firefox and Safari, right? And it loaded. I was like, you son of a. So tomorrow morning, we will be getting into our N8N marketing workflow so that, and I'll probably have to use another browser so that we can continue with that. And maybe Thursday, we try to run it back. We try to create our security N8N workflow. And we'll probably have to use another browser because I do not know what type of crazy caching issue that is preventing me from getting to my own damn website.
Bruh. Ain't believing us.
That's how I feel. All right. So, and then we're going to be going live Thursday night. We're going to have our vibe working session. I'm gonna start naming our DevOps days, our Sundays, Vibe Ops. What do you think about that? Vibe Ops. Let's get it. I like it. Vibe Ops. We have vibe coding, vibe ops, vibe coding. Because as my guy Rod Brown likes to say, it's a vibe, but it's not, because there is so much work associated with the only thing that vibe coding helps you with is getting the code out there, but it's not perfect, and it takes a lot of thought to how do you want to like the product ownership of how do you want to develop the project or the application, testing the application, integrating with different platforms. It is not as easy as people make it out to be. So I'm noticing that everything that people said, they're wrong. It takes you very far to the end, but it is not the end all be all, right? And also tomorrow at noon, we're going to be having candid conversations. I'm going to be talking about how, if you guys remember from the movie Talladega Nights, when Ricky Bobby would say, I just want to go fast. Well, I think that wanting to go fast leads you to destruction, right? And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? So a lot of times we go fast and we crash and burn and we never actually get done what we want. And I'm going to be talking about why wanting to go fast can and usually is the enemy of consistency, and some insight that I shared with some of my tech barbarians on how to not focus on going fast, but focus on being consistent and getting things done. All right, so that is the plan for the next couple of days. With that being said, I'm gonna jump into an icebreaker. But before I jump into the icebreaker, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Do me a big favor. If you have not done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live and drop new content. As well, go to techcoachrob.dev. If you want to see our vibe code and chill session, go to techcoachrob.dev. Sign up. I'm probably going to be releasing it Tuesday morning. It was so much gold over there. Digital gold. So much gold will help you a lot in building applications, coming up with prototypes, in prompting, all of that good stuff. Get your reps in, all right? So, techcoachrob.dev, sign up today. Come and join me on our weekend sessions, all that good stuff, all right? So, let me check the chat first. Let me check the chat, and then we will get to our icebreaker, right? And then we're gonna get into our vibe coding, right? So first and foremost, we got my guy in the building, Junior. What's good, Junior? How are you? Hopefully you are doing absolutely phenomenal. What's good with you? Hopefully I got what you sent me. Started watching it. It's amazing. I am so happy. I cannot wait. I cannot wait, Junior. So shout out to you. Keep up the good work. We have, this is Vashant. Hopefully I'm saying it right. But welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And it says, is M1 Pro still good? Are you talking about a MacBook a MacBook Pro M1 chip? If so, the answer is, as for any computer, the answer is it depends on what you are using the computer for. Simple as that. It just depends on what you're using it for, because if I am using it for basic tasks here and there, I mean, I would say more than basic, right? You can do some development on it. It just depends, because I had an M1 MacBook Pro, but the RAM matters, the disk space matters, the CPU matters. This one right here, it is a M3 Pro with about 64 gigs of RAM. Because of the work I was doing, streaming it and trying to show it on stream while it's running Docker, it needs to be a lot faster. So it just depends on what you are doing with it. If you're just using it simply for development, for QA, things like that, then it's probably going to be fine for the until you reach a limit. Like, let's say you're trying to do like mobile development, it's probably not going to be strong enough. It just depends, right? It just depends on what you are using it for. So I would say yes, it's still good, but it can have its limitations. All right. So with that being said, I am going to hit up our icebreaker for today. All right. So we're going to go like this, and we're going to go like this, and we're going to say icebreaker. So I scolded my tech lead to success. What is a tech lead? Well, I am a tech coach, right? I am a tech coach. So the people that I coach, they are technically my tech leads, not my athletes, but my tech leads. So I quote unquote scolded my tech lead to success. What do I mean by that? So I did. All right. I am being a little hyperbolic. All right. But I did not scold my tech lead, but I encouraged them in a very direct way, though. Let me throw up 5 minutes. All right. Let me throw up 5 minutes on this. All right. So I was thinking, so we've been working on building this application, and we're at the brink of completion, right? But when I am working with those that I'm coaching or whatever type of work we're doing, I am multifaceted. I think about multiple different ways to get to our end results, right? So while you are learning, let's say we're like you're learning QA. While you are learning QA, you're building up your skill set for QA. I'm also like, all right, well, how are you going to market yourself? What are the marketing platforms for someone who is trying to grow in their career? Well, as toxic, yes, as LinkedIn might be, it is still one of your best bets to market yourself. So when I had spoken to my tech lead over the past year, I was like, well, let's you have to make content based on the things that you're learning, because guess what? As you're trying to transition into this field, nobody knows you, and more importantly, nobody owes you anything, and nobody has to take a chance on you. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, how is their LinkedIn? What was the last thing they posted on LinkedIn? How long ago was it? What does their LinkedIn say? And knowing all the work that they've been doing in the past few months on a real application that we are at the brink of deployment, I went and took a look at it, and I saw it. I'm like, huh. The last post is just a link to an article that they posted on a different platform 7 months ago. 7 months ago. And I was like, okay. And I looked at their experience history, and it said nothing about the work that they've been doing recently. And I'm like, huh. Well, if I'm a recruiter looking for somebody, would I want to reach out to this person on LinkedIn? Right? And I was like, absolutely not, because you're like your LinkedIn resume is very vague, not really updated. It's kind of messy. It's kind of messy. And believe it or not, recruiters still heavily rely on LinkedIn. Let's put it like this. My past 3 jobs, right? I have gotten them through and because of LinkedIn. So while everybody is saying, "Oh, LinkedIn, like it's crap and it doesn't work," yada yada yada, all 3 of my jobs have came in through LinkedIn, and recruiters are reaching out to me on a weekly basis. I have to fight the recruiters off like flies, all right? You know, but why is that? I have the experience. I have 20 years of experience in the tech space, but I also I don't really post much on LinkedIn because I'm in the field that I want to be, and if I needed to transition, wouldn't be a big deal. When I do post, it gets views. I have a lot of connections, but for somebody who is trying to market themselves, because every single thing that you do, every breath you take, that is marketing, right? You should be marketing yourself for every breath that you take. Answering the question, what do you bring to the table of the field that you want to be in? It's a valid question. I can answer that question very, very easily. And that's why multiple people always want to work with me, whether it's a company, whether it's individuals. They want to work with me. And I can be very, very selective on who I choose to work with and who I do not choose to work with. But for people trying to get into the field, they do not have that flexibility as of yet. So I'm like, all right, well, you have to market yourself. So I looked through their LinkedIn, and I said, all right, and I said, probably your resume is not updated with the work that you've been doing for the past so and so months, right? For the past so and so months, you probably don't have that. So I'm like, all right, we need to clean up the LinkedIn, clean up some of your past job history, add this project that you've been working on, add it as a company that you work for in the field, detailing all the work that you've done.
Get a move on, back to work, chop chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
Do that. And then you need to start posting content consistently on LinkedIn about just detail the journey from inception. I don't know, whatever, either conception or inception, whatever the word is, from the beginning all the way to going live. Talk about the product management aspect, talk about the quality aspect and all the things that you did, write articles, like blog posts, record videos, in your have screenshots of the work that you did from Jira, from the actual app, from your reports, your research, your organization. Talk about why I just like, and I said use AI to help you come up with the content that you should be creating to document all of that. Make videos, talk about it, because why is it that, and this is one of the sad parts about social media, but it's also the ones that get the most views, the most promotions, the things that had like the negative stuff, right? If you look at LinkedIn, people complaining, whining, talking about, oh, jobs are this, jobs are that, AI this, AI that, recruiters this, recruiters that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, if they can complain that way, why can't you make actual content that is going to promote the work that you are able to do and give you a better chance than all those who are complaining? Those are your competition. So now if you apply for a job and they say, oh, they have LinkedIn, and they go check out their LinkedIn, like, oh, wow, you have already got halfway. If you do what I just said, right, you will get halfway past the interview. While the people who are complaining, they already canceled themselves out. The people who don't put what they're actually working on, they have a lot more work to do. But if you have already interviewed halfway, because now when that recruiter looks at your LinkedIn, when the hiring manager looks at your LinkedIn, when the people, like the people doing the interview look at your LinkedIn, like, oh wow, like they're detailing all the things that they did for this application and how they did this, how they did that. Oh, how they come up with this idea. Oh, they're talking about reporting and metrics and all of this type of stuff. I really, really want to talk to this person, and I already know half of the things that they did and what value they're going to bring before you even spoke to one person. You've sold them. You've sold them on you. But that's why for me, just creating content here on YouTube, I'll have people wanting to reach out, who will reach out to me and say, oh, I want to work with you this, I want to work with you that, I want to sponsor this, I want to sponsor that. And now I can be selective on who I want to work with and who I don't. So that was how I quote unquote scolded my tech lead to success to get to work. And don't get me wrong, they work so hard. But if nobody knows about how hard you're working, are you really working hard? Yeah, you are. It's not one of those forest in a tree questions, right? But you are. But you have to let the world know if you want the world to give you an opportunity to go out there and be great. If you want to work for somebody, you got to go out there and show them. You got to market yourself. Marketing, right? So that is my message to you, sharing with you how I scolded my tech lead to success, and maybe how I'm scolding you / annoying you to success as well. Hopefully that helped. I will definitely clip this up because I think this is a very, very valuable message for everyone. All right. So with that being said, that was our icebreaker. I'm going to check the chat. We're going to jump into our vibe coding session, and then we'll go from there. Right. So let me check the chat really, really quick. Let's see. Basant said, do you have Instagram? I do have Instagram, and it is the same thing, Tech Coach Rob. I'll send it to you. I'll drop it in the chat real quick. Follow me on IG. Tech. Oops. There we go. Boom. Follow me on IG, Tech Coach Rob. All right. What else we got? We got Melissa in the building. What's up, Melissa? It is whenever you're able to make it here, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here. Melissa says, I rushed a client's job at work. I missed a step and had to pay for it myself. That's when I learned, don't rush to be fast. Focus on getting it right first. Speed will come with time. Exactly. You see, sometimes we have to learn the hard way. Bruh. But we learn nonetheless, and it's like I can tell you that the stove is hot, right? I can tell you that the stove is hot and you will burn, and you're like, okay, yeah, but if you touch the hot stove and you burn your hand, you will not touch a hot stove again. I hear that. I hear that. Let's see. All right, cool. Let's see. Melissa says, I felt like sharing a little story since you talked about not focusing on going fast, but focus on getting things done and be consistent. And I've learned my lesson. Well, I am going to celebrate you because not only are you being honest, open, and transparent, but you also learned from that experience. And I know that this is I know this is a new role for you that's working in and trying to get familiar. So it is better that you failed early and fast, and now you learn from it, and you are going to be awesome. All right, so we are going to jump into our little bit of vibe coding really, really quick. I have my 5 tokens to burn for today, and I have a lot of tokens to burn. But my 5 daily tokens, I'm going to be working on this a little bit more throughout the week because I have tokens. So let me go over to here, right? So this is a dashboard that I built for to track metrics, right? Well, I didn't build it. I built the prototype, right? I prompted the prototype. I have the prototype. And it is to get metrics, engineering metrics, right? So what I was trying to do just to get it off the ground, I wanted to be able to at least pull in something from Jira, like maybe these customer defects from Jira, right? But I was having issues with it on Friday. For some reason, I can make the Jira call manually, but when I try to do it through the application, it is not getting it. I do not understand why. So I'm using my own Jira installation, or my own Jira instance, and I have the API keys. I will show you the API key. The API call is working, and we will try it again and again with Lovable to see what is actually going on. When I make the calls, I'll look at the logs for the function, but it's just not returning anything, and I don't understand why, because everything looks correct. It works manually. It works on my machine, but it doesn't work when I do it through the application, right? So we're going to jump into it, and we will spend. I'm gonna put 20 minutes. We might go a little bit over, but I do not want to take a whole hour working on this. Well, we're not gonna go over. We're gonna spend 20 minutes, and because it's early in the day, we don't have our 8 o'clock deadline. I will make sure I use the rest of my tokens. But the issue that I'm having is I have trouble using up all my tokens because I've gotten so efficient with working on this through the code and working on it in here. So it is what it is. All right. So let me throw up 20 minutes on the clock.
It's time to do.
Okay, so this is the application, and this is how it looks when you are logged in, and you see how it says 0 open defects here. I want to be able to pull it in from here, but if we look at the logs, if I look here, when I do that, nothing comes in here, but defects metric, it's not finding anything. Unfortunately, it is not finding anything. And what it should be finding is all of the open defects in the project, but that's not happening. So when I go into the admin section, go to admin section, and it is connected to my Jira, it is returning nothing, right? And I don't quite understand why, because if I go over here to my talent and it's going to my Jira installation, and I do send, it's able to find everything, right? It's able to find everything. So I don't quite understand. You guys want the Instagram link? I was just putting the name, but all right. I'll put the link. I will put the link in the chat. There you go. All right. But thanks for letting me know, Junior. All right. Let's go ahead and do. All right. So I don't understand why. I don't understand why it is not working that way. I have everything there. So it works here, but when I go here, it doesn't work. So I'm trying to. So if I go to the edge functions here, and there goes that function right here, right? And I should. That's weird. If I go in here and I look at the code, everything that I look in here should work. It should work, right? So basically, if I'm looking here, it says authenticated user ID, get. So Jira base URL, the Jira email address that it's associated with, the Jira API token, and then it passes in the Jira base URL here. Well, not here. It passes it in here, right? The request that needs to be made, and it's supposed to get the. Let me see. So fetching from this URL, and then it's supposed to say, all right, let's see, outputs the BTOA for when you pass in the email address and the token. The token is the API key. And then it passes in checks the length, sets a timeout. But the thing is, it responds right away. That's the thing that's crazy about it, right? So now it's going to make the request. It's going to take the basic auth string that it creates over here, right? Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Can I close this? I guess not. All right. So so it's passing it here. So get the project URL, get method authorization, and it returns status. So being that it's not filling, it seems like it's going through, but for some weird reason, we are not getting anything back. REST API 3 project. Let me see. Let me compare. REST API 3 project. So that's the same exact thing. So I don't understand why it is not retrieving it, right? It's very, very weird to me. And the part that drives me crazy is I'm able to do it here. And if I'm able to do it here, there is no reason that it shouldn't be, because it's the same request. It's the same, and it's, let's try something real quick, right? I'm going to change this to ABC123, right? And what does this do? Hold on, before I do that, if I go back here, let me see if I click test. And I say send request unauthorized. That's interesting. So request body function name. If we do a get send request unauthorized. So if it didn't work, it should give me so that makes sense. What are you getting though? I don't know. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just change this temporarily to ABC123, and this is how I troubleshoot stuff, right? And I am going to say, where do I save that? Deploy updates. Deploy updates. And if I go over to here and I refresh, I should get an error. Maybe it's not there yet. Let me see. Why is it not getting, all right, hold on. Why is it not getting an error? See, that's weird. I am of the belief that it should get an error. ABC 1, 2, 3. Huh. So if I go to the logs, authenticated user, see notifications. There's that. Let me take a look at this one. Let's see. Invalid claim. Authenticated user. It says authorization bear. It does, but I don't. So if I look at this, right, and I look at this, it's using basic though. That's the thing. It's using basic. It's not using the bearer auth. And that's exactly the way that it is for, wait a second, headers form. So, and I was looking at it in Gemini too, right? It says header accept application JSON. Let me see if we have code. So the basic does, so it has the username and password, but I think what happens is, so here's what happens in the code, right? Over here, it takes the email address, it takes the password, and it turns into the auth string, and it passes it into this over here, right? Except everything is right. So that's the part that is confusing me. Let me try this one more time. Let's see, before we see, it's coming back as 200. That doesn't make any sense to me. All right, so I'm going to deploy this back. And we're going to go here. And we are going to go to, let's see, what am I going to do? So we're going to go here. We're going to say, I wonder if it's, so let's go here. Let's do logs. Authenticated user listening on invocations. What is this get doing? So here, auth user. I wonder if it's even going. Okay, so let me do, all right, let's do this. So base URL, your email, API token, fetch projects. See, it's not even getting here actually. So let me add a project. And it's supposed to get all the keys listed in here, right? And it is not doing that. So let me go now. Let me go check over here. Response body. See how it's not getting anything? So it's trying to get that status text okay. Project. Is it project or projects? Project. Sorry, projects. So that doesn't work. Okay, so we know that it's project. But everything looks correct. So if I copy this whole thing, right? And I paste it in here. So that's correct. Redirected, false. See? It's just not finding anything. It has the auth string. I made sure that's right. Jira configuration check. What's that? Jira email set. And we're not getting an error response. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to say when I try to make an API call to Jira using Postman, I am able to get all of my projects. However, when I try to list the projects in the admin, no projects are being returned from the API call. It only returns an empty array, but I am not getting any issues, any errors that it couldn't be authenticated. I am just getting an empty array, which seems like the connection was successful, but no data is being returned. So that's my prompt, right? And I kind of put a similar prompt to that on Friday, but still there was nothing that came in. The Jira API is returning an empty array, even though authenticated status suggests that your Jira instance might not have any projects visible to the API. What? Or there might be a permission issue. Let me check a few things and add some debugging to help. Wow. No, that's not true. That can't be true because I'm using the same API key. I'm using the same API key. See, but this is the thing, that this is the way that I'm reasoning. The same way that AI is reasoning, trying to figure this thing out. I'm using my human intelligence to say, well, no, that can't be the case, because if I'm using the same API key, then I shouldn't be having an issue, right? As I've added more detailed logging to help us understand what's happening. Now, when you try to fetch projects, check the edge functions log again. The key things I've added: raw response logging. We now log the exact response text from Jira. Response size logging. First 500 characters. A few things to check: API token permission. Even though authenticated users authentication succeeds, your API token might not have the browse project permission. In Jira, go to API token settings and ensure that it has proper project permissions. If that was the case, though, if you're using cloud, no, it works in my browser. So that doesn't make any sense. All right. So let's go ahead and refresh this page. And we do add, and we go here, still nothing. And if we go back over here and we refresh that, see, the raw response text length is just this, is just the open bracket and the close bracket, right? So it said that raw response log. Now we can log the exact response text from Jira. See, no. Let's see. Raw response text length, response body. Let's see. Let me see. It looks exactly the same. Raw response text. Yep, there's that. We already had that too. Fetching projects from here. Yes, that's correct. This is an IDE. This is just using Supabase because they're like using their functions and stuff like that. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to Gemini, right? I'm gonna go to Gemini. So I'm going to say that using Postman, I am able to pull. Oh, watch this. I'm able to pull the projects from Jira via an API call. However, when I'm trying to do it programmatically via a Supabase edge function, it seems to be authenticating. However, it is returning an empty list. Let's see if they have any insight on that. Let's see what we got. So this is just Gemini that I'm using. Gemini has had a UI for a few months now, though. All right, so this is a classic permission issue related to execution environment. Since your request works in Postman, but it returns empty list in Supabase, it's almost certain that your Jira instance has security settings that treats requests from Supabase servers differently than requests from your local machine. The empty list with the successful authentication means, yes, I know you are here. I know who you are, but from where you're asking, you don't have permission to view any projects. That's hard to believe. Oh, it's hard to believe. All right. You need to contact your Jira administrator and ask them to add egress IP addresses for Supabase to your Jira instance allow list. Supabase provides a list of static IPs for this exact purpose. You can find them in Supabase project settings under infrastructure static IP addresses. Okay, let me see if we can do that. Let me open up another browser real quick. Let me see. Jira, I don't want to put anything. Let me see.
Lunch break! Lunch break!
Let's see. Let me see. Jira API egress. Let's go over to here. Jira API egress refers to outbound traffic network initiated by Jira application, particularly in context of Atlassian's cloud platform and app development. Let's see. don't know. I don't quite know. Let's say Jira. I'm gonna put it in. I'm just gonna do a Google search, right? Because that really bites. Oh, wait, oh, let's look at this, right? So verify your edge function. So this looks all correct. Create a dedicated bot user recommended. Instead of using your personal API token, the best way to have your Jira admin create a dedicated service account, a regular account used for automation. This is a couples integration from your personal account. If you leave, oh, that's pretty interesting. That is actually a genius idea. Where would I? So let's say I am the Jira admin. Where in Jira would I add the IP address for egress? Let's see what that says. And then we can wrap this segment up. But it would be so cool to get this to work. You can find it at admin.atlassian. Let me see. Navigate to admin.atlassian, select organization, go to security, and the main navigation sidebar, and select security. And let me try that real quick. Let me see if make sure there's nothing personal that shows up. That's weird. When I go to admin, it asks me to create a new admin. That doesn't seem right. System. So if I look over here, right, and I'm going to wrap it. I just, global permissions. See what that does. Allow users to log in. To allow users, they must have application access. Grant permission. So if I was to do this and I say, let me see. So go to security, allow IP. I don't see that. I don't see it. I don't know. If I go here and manage group filters, share dashboards. Don't quite know. Something. What about from a project level? Authentication. Single sign-on. Organizations. There aren't any organizations. But this is what I'm talking about, though. Like with these platforms, like trying to build these things, there's so many different opportunities to learn. Because now I'm diving into how Jira works and how we can interact with their APIs. public access for forms. Let's see. Jira allow app to use API. App access for Jira. All right. Jira allows apps to use APIs through various authentication and authorization mechanisms, depending on the type of app and the environment. API tokens, OAuth, cookie-based authentication. When using OAuth, when using API. So for personal integrations or scripts, users can generate API tokens from their Atlassian account. These tokens are used as a password in basic authentication when making API calls. I don't see it. I do not see it. I'm going to play with it after the show a little bit more to see what's going on. But it doesn't seem like it should be that complicated. Important notice for 3 LO API tokens. Apps that collect API tokens or instruct customers to create individual don't comply with security requirements for cloud apps. To follow the best thing, build a single distributable 3LO app for your integration. Clearly identify your app in the marketplace recommended. Work with customers to transition away from, get an API token. Supply basic auth headers. I don't know. Let's see. How to use API tokens. I mean, we're doing exactly this. Cloud ID. Maybe we have a scope. To create an API, I don't think so. Anyways, I will keep playing with that, but that is what I have been trying to work through over the past couple of days. I'm working on a bunch of stuff, but this is just one of them. I want to be able to know how to connect Jira to an application, start pulling data in, so then I can do a lot more with it. All right, but we're gonna get to the chat, and then we will. We just got our token hit in for the day. I'm gonna get to the chat. And then we will get into our first break time topic, where I want to go over a video that I saw where they were breaking down the unemployment the minimum wage effects on employment in, I believe it was California. So we'll see. Let me get this off screen. All right. So let me check. We have my guy Junior kindly let me know that I did not put a link to IG in the chat, only the name of the page. What do they call profile? The name of the profile? I don't know. So the link is there now for anybody who wants to follow me, or I'll tell you this. I am so bad at getting notifications on IG when people send me a message, so I will apologize in advance for that. So if you send me a message and it takes me a few days, a couple of weeks to respond, that is because I am the worst at checking IG. All right, we got Robot Glock in the building. Might have to add authorization bearer token. Yeah, it's not, because they're you saw how they're building the basic auth. It's weird. I thought so too at first, right? And it says to the headers, basic would be username and password, which that's how they're doing it. They have the key for they have an environment variable for the email address for Jira, and for the API key for Jira. I'm gonna look into that idea of creating that user though, that dedicated automation user. And let me see. Robot said, what ID is this? I was just using Superbase to look at the code they did for the function. And it says VS Code, take it back. But we are going to be using VS Code after this break, as I'm going to get into Kilo code again to see if it can update some of my unit tests, right? Robot says Gemini has a GUI now. They have had a GUI for a while now. Yeah, it's been for a while. And says, or is this a desktop large language model browser app? Nope, that was just Gemini in the browser, just Gemini. Let me see. All right, cool, perfect. So let's go to this first break time topic. Let me go over here. And I am going to, let me click this and let's go to, so I saw this video from Fox Business where they were talking about minimum wage for fast food workers, and they were talking about AI and stuff like that. So I wanted to watch it together, share my thoughts. I don't know if we're gonna watch the whole entire video, but some of the things that they're saying about AI and about not even necessarily AI, but kiosks and stuff like that, it was quite intriguing. So let's go ahead and let's watch this together. Let's watch this fast food minimum wage backfires and what I believe they're going to be talking about California, right? So let's start watching this together, and drop your comments in the chat and I will make sure I read them, and I will share my commentary throughout as well.
Welcome back. California getting yet another hard lesson in economics. The state implemented a $20 minimum wage for fast food workers in April. That was April of 2024. A little over 1 year later, it's estimated that the state has hemorrhaged, get this, 18,000 jobs. The complete opposite of the employment trends across the rest of the country. And I said this before COVID, when they were advocating for $15 minimum wage, and then during COVID, when wages did go up because we saw such massive inflation, that if the price of your Big Mac meal, and that's what an average person can buy for lunch, is $15, but they're making $15 an hour, then you sort of defeat the purpose of the higher wage. California took it to the next level.
Imagine that, though. Imagine that your meal costs for you to eat, it costs you a 1 full hour of working. For you to eat one meal, it costs you 1 full hour of working.
Bruh.
Level to the point where businesses then couldn't be competitive and they had to lay people off. Lou.
Yeah, I mean, you said it in your intro, a hard lesson in economics. We knew what was going to happen, and yet they willfully went forward. This is a math problem. It's a math equation that can be easily solved before you put into place a really bad policy. Beyond having to lay people off, businesses leave and flee states that require higher minimum wages. We need to, remember, it's a minimum wage. It's not supposed to be a living wage, and I think those are the distinctions. We need to provide a pathway, training, opportunities to get people from those jobs into the next level where it is higher wages, not force the bottom up and force businesses to bear the brunt of it because they can't.
Yeah, and yesterday.
And I'll say this, this is a very, very unpopular opinion, but for me, the minimum wage, it should be zero. It should be zero. Because I don't like the government getting in between people making agreements with one another. If I make an agreement with a junior that I say I'm going to work for junior for $5, and the government steps in and says, no, junior, the agreement that you made with Techotrough is unacceptable. You have to pay him $8 an hour. And now junior, well, too rich for my blood. So now, instead of me getting my $5 an hour, guess what I'm left with? A big fat zero. Yep.
Bruh.
And now, while I was gonna get that $5, I already had it planned out. I was gonna head over to Wendy's and get me one of those 4 for $5s or 4 for $4s or whatever the price is now. But because the government said, nope, you are not allowed to make that agreement with the junior, now I am hungry and I have no food, Mr. Government.
How dare you?
So for me, I'm like, I don't let people make their own deals, because guess what? If someone tries to say, well, we're not gonna pay you anything, and you're really good at what you do, because probably most of the people who are getting paid, they probably are getting over most. Another unpopular opinion, right? Most people who are getting paid minimum wage, they probably are getting paid too much.
Hey, a wise guy, eh?
I'm just saying. The people who get paid way more than minimum wage is because they are actually doing something that pays them way more than minimum wage. But if you are making the minimum wage or just above it, that's probably because you don't have the skill set that is going to. Just saying. Because back in my days, the minimum wage jobs were for high school students, college students, immigrants. When I started working, I was getting paid like $5.25 an hour. But I would have worked for less if I could, just so I can start building up some experience and getting some money to go to the store, buy some sneakers. I mean, I wasted my money as a kid. Anyways, that's besides. Let's enough about me. Let's get back to the video.
We talked about In-N-Out Burger not wanting to stay in California or its headquarters.
And, you know, you've seen so much business move to the south, to Texas. You've seen Florida take off, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. All of these states have lower costs of labor, and they're very popular with employers, and there's a good reason for it. I just see this trend continuing and not going away.
Well, the minimum wage crowd has this weird habit of always wanting to use like the stick of the minimum wage to bring people's pay up. And they always seem to be the least cognizant people that there are other ways to get that work done if you back a business into a corner. It's like we talk about AI every day. We talk about technology every day. They refuse to accept that if you price out businesses from their workers, businesses will hire technology. That's what happens. Like some of these, there may be some restaurant closures in California, but actually what they're doing is we see this everywhere. It's kiosks. So like what you've done with you can raise a minimum wage and put people out of work, or you can support pro-growth policies and give businesses an incentive that's sustainable to hire new workers and train them up. But the left loves coercion more than they love the outcome they're seeking, which is a better life for work.
And let me tell you something, now that I have an opportunity. I get very annoyed at the kiosks because sometimes they don't work and you still need a human to fix them, but there's only one human and there's 50 kiosks or 50 self-checkouts. You still need a human being there. And this brings us back to the issue we were talking about AI with Charles Payne, what it can do for your business, how much more efficient it can make you, how it can get rid of jobs as well. And
That was such a bad argument that she made. Like, sometimes the kiosks don't work and then you have to wait. Look, they're going to work a majority of the time. 99% of the time, the kiosks are going to work, and one might go down. You have another one that you can use. When I go to Walmart, right, I always go towards the self-checkout, and there's always a bunch of self-checkouts. One or two of them might be closed, but I remember before they had the self-checkout, right? And this is how bad her argument is, right? I would go to Walmart before they had self-checkout, and they would have two cashiers. The lines would be they would be so long, and I just have two things in my hand, and I have to wait, and people they have a whole cart stuff, and then they have to pull out their coupons and all that other stuff, and then they're like, oh well, I'm not gonna take this, and you're just waiting there like, oh my god. And then imagine if the customer and the cashier, they start to argue, they start going back and forth. I want a manager, and I am like, Jesus Christ. It's just not in me. It is just not in me. And now when almost everywhere that I go to, there is self-checkout available. I'm like, thank you, Lord. So I don't know what she's talking about, trying to be like all relatable and stuff. Like, look, give me my kiosk. Give me my kiosk, because guess what? By me inputting my order, and that's why I like online ordering as well. Like, by me being able to put in my order, they're not going to get it wrong. I mean, the person putting it together might get it wrong, but I know that it's not going to be the person taking the order that is getting it wrong. That is how I feel about that.
save you money, but at the same time, you just cannot replace humans, even in the most simple ways.
That's exactly right. And imagine the worker who goes to her boss and says, pay me more or I'm going to pass a law, instead of saying, I want to work harder, I want to learn more, I want to elevate my contributions to this company, and then pay me more as a result. The truth is, Lou, that the average wage in America is about $32 an hour. All the folks who are earning money average that out, it's about $32 an hour. Why? Because they started off, as we all do, growing up with a fast food job for a couple months, they learn those skills, and they move on
I'm
up.
not sure if Kamala actually did or didn't.
Well, President Trump certainly worked for a few hours.
Yeah.
And that'd be the smallest of her lies was the McDonald's one.
Right.
You know.
But I think, the kiosk not working is a pain.
That was so petty. That was uncalled for. That was so petty. But the question is it true? Was it true? Was it true?
Do not come.
Anyways.
With you, but actually the bigger problem for Democrats who push this is the kiosks do work.
Yeah.
They work really well, and it's not just kiosks.
Correct.
It's in an Amazon warehouse. It's robots that can move things.
Robots now.
Like it is. There are people like to complain that the technologists are putting humans out of work, but there's nobody who's better at putting humans out of work than the humans in government. You got it. That's exactly
That's
it.
right.
Look, these kiosks have been around for years. I mean, it was almost 10 years ago. I was in Seoul, South Korea, and every fast food restaurant had kiosks. They were replacing the workers a decade ago. So this is a willful decision in the United States to keep employing people over technology. It's not technology's fault. If you lose your job, it's not to AI. It's because you don't know how to use AI. It's our role to teach people how to use the new tools of technology.
But it's also the government's job to stay out of it. The government shouldn't be forcing us to make that decision. When I walk into a McDonald's or
And that's why every single show we come on, we are doing something with AI. This is a tech channel, something with AI, getting our prompting better, looking how to build applications. I'm going every other weekend, our vibe code and chill sessions, where we are building applications together, building prototypes, thinking about how we can actually implementing it, doing all of that work, sharing insights, sharing context on. You cannot stay back, right? I forgot what I was watching. It might have been Diary of a CEO, and they asked him, like, if you had to choose a field to go into today, what would it be? And the guy was like, I'll be a plumber. I'm like, okay, cool, great, because you're always going to need plumbers, you're always going to need electricians, stuff like that. But are the tools that plumbers use today the same tools that plumbers used 50 years ago? They still use pipes, right? But the technology for measurements, for what do they call it when they put the pipes together with the fire and stuff like that, with the torch? The technology has advanced greatly. So now, the same way the plumber super necessary, electrician super necessary, the tools. I remember back in the days, like when you had to connect wires together using tape and stuff like that. Now they have those little connectors and stuff where it just puts it all together. So the thing that I'm saying is, yeah, if you try to take a plumber or an electrician or whatever other field, right, and you try to have them work the plumber from 50 years ago and the plumber from today, yes, is it welding? I guess so. Yeah, I guess it's welding. The plumber from 50 years ago, the plumber from today, the one from today is going to be way more efficient because they have the right tools. Where did those tools come from? Technology, right? Technology. All right. So anyways, that was my thought on this fast food thing backfiring on Californians. 18,000 out of a job because they said, I want more money. They got more money and they lost all of that money. It's what it is. It is what it is. All right. So let me check the chat and then we're gonna get to our kilo code. All right. I can minimize this over here. All right, cool. So let me see what we got going on. Let me see. Junior says exactly. Free market is what it should be. I agree 1000%. I'm gonna get mine. I am going to get mine. And you just got. And if you knew if people knew where the minimum wage from what I've heard, it came from unions saying coming up with the minimum wage to price certain people out of the market. They said so because a certain group of people were replacing another group of people because of they were willing to work for less. So the unions came and said, well, no, we're going to quote unquote collective bargain and say that, oh, the minimum we can pay these people is this much money. And now the person who might have had less experience, they get priced out of the market. And now You have certain groups that have who always have much higher unemployment rate because they cannot set their own prices. They are priced out because of minimum wage. Yup, that's how it goes.
Bruh.
Junior says, "Are you talking about welding?" I think it's welding. Is that like when you put those copper pipes together? I'm guessing that's welding, right? And wire nuts. Yep, wire nuts definitely. And those are lifesavers. And Junior says the older guys had more knowledge. I agree. They had more knowledge, but if you can take their knowledge with the tools of today, imagine how much more powerful they would be, right? So the older guys also don't like to embrace technology. The younger guys like to embrace technology, but they don't like to get the knowledge. So you just got to blend them in together. That's why for me, I'm always about getting that knowledge as well as embracing the technology to use. I have a perfect example. When you look at this whole vibe coding thing, right? I have been saying it is important to learn these languages, to learn Python, to learn JavaScript, HTML, CSS, all that type of stuff, React, learning how to build applications. Now, when these vibe coded platforms come out, I am able to navigate it like a breeze. I understand everything that I'm seeing. I'm able to make modifications with myself. But the people who've been wanting to do this forever, but they never actually put in the time to learn it, they are the ones who are like they'll be like, oh, it doesn't work because they don't get it. All right. Let me see. We have Marquavius in the building. Says Sith Coach Ralph.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
What's up, Marquavius? Hopefully you are doing absolutely phenomenal. And you said soldering. Is that soldering? I don't know. I get them confused because I remember like I've used a soldering iron before and I was trying to melt these two things together, but it wasn't really for. I really don't know. I don't know. Because I'm thinking about like, let's say you are installing you're building a bathroom, right? And you have the copper pipes and you're trying to connect them together. Is that soldering or is that welding? I don't know. I don't know the name of it, but it's one of those, or it's close to that. But I'm sure you know what I'm talking about though. And Marquavia says, Feds, we are up. Well, congratulations to the Feds. All right. So we are going to get into this. All right. I guess I'll just jump right into it, right? We're going to get into working on, let me go and open up my VS Code actually. Close this down to. Cool. So I can actually close down WebStorm, and we're going to get into VS Code. I'm going to try to use Kilo code again so that we can, what is this? So that we can let me see, open folder. Give me a second. Do it over. Let me just go back to full screen. And I'm going to open. WebStorm. All right. So let me put up 20 minutes.
Let's go!
Let's go over here. So I have some tests already, right? I think these tests were created by Devin, but like some of them might be passing, some of them are not. I'm just curious to see if Kilo Code is able to get them to pass. So we have this. I think they put them. All right. So you see how we have these tests. So it's not really organized the best from what I can see. Let me see. Can I do a search for test in general? Let me see. Let me see tests. Not here. So I have this over here. I don't even know if it works, right? But I know I have some tests in here. So these would be like front-end tests. Do we have any back-end tests? Let me see. Components. What about components? It would be under maybe here, functions. I don't know. All right, anyways, so let's see if we are able to, where's my package.json file? And if we wanted to do tests, we would do, so there's test run and there's test UI. So let me go into our, let's go into our terminal, right? And let's do a new terminal. And to get us started, I'm going to do npm test :UI and see what we get. It says, did you mean one of these npm? Okay, npm run test UI. All right, npm test or run test UI. Let's see what we get out of this, right? And let's say yes. Oh, look at that. We got a whole dashboard and stuff that popped up. So it told us 7 test files, 7 failed, 2 passed, 43 failed, 17 passed out of the actual test, right? And it opened a whole dashboard for us over here. And let me get this off the screen. Give me a second. There we go to get that off the screen.
Welcome back. California getting yet another.
Oh, goodbye. All right. So it said 17 passed, 43 failed. Out of 9 files, 2 passed, 7 failed. All right. So, and this gives us, so this VI test gives us this whole report. I think it's what we're trying to do with, it's what we're trying to do with the homeschool one last week, but it failed. So maybe, and the way these tests got created were through Devin. So let's see. Let's see. So we have all these tests are passing. We have the resume upload failing. So what we are going to do is let's try to get, let me see. And they're probably failing because we made a lot of changes to the application. Let me see if we can do, let me see if, what does this do right here? Run current file. So if I click on this run current file over here, it actually runs it. So by me clicking here, this is actually controlling my, what do you call this place? It's actually controlling my, my VS Code, which is pretty cool actually. Can I not close this thing? All right, cool. So let's go back over here. So it executed. Let me see. Test failed, watching for changes. Let me see. Should render status update dialog. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up Kilo. And I am going to, well, first and foremost, what I'm going to do is I am going to say get status. And I am going to say get push to make sure the latest on the, all right. So now I'm going to do get checkout -b, and I'm going to say Kilo code unit tests. So just so I don't mess up my branch, I'm just going to create another branch and track it over there. And I'm going to say, can I do, let me see, use usage must be, all right. So I'm going to say, go to Kilo, and I'm going to ask, oh, I'm going to change my, let me change my LLM to, let me change it to, change it back to OpenAI. And I will use a model of, let me see how much is this one. 40 cents for the input price for 4.1 mini. What else do we have? How much is Nano? Nano is 10 cents. I don't know if, I really don't know. This one is $2 for input price. I'll start off with mini, right? Let's say 40 cents. How much is 4.0? Well, 4.0 is, well, maybe that's a different one. Oh, all right, there you go. GPT 4.0 mini, 15 cents. I will try, let me try the 4.1 mini, right? And if we say, let me save that. Done. And I'm gonna try to be specific to this unit test, right? I made some changes to the application status update, and now are failing. Can you update the unit test to get them to pass? So while that is doing its thing, right, I believe that, although not directly part of DevOps, but I believe unit testing is a part of DevOps. Why is that? Well, your unit tests need to be able to run through the CI/CD pipeline, and being that the CI/CD pipeline is a DevOps process, and I believe that having proper tests in place is going to contribute to a functional CI/CD, to a functional application, of course, but to a CI/CD process where it gives the DevOps engineers confidence that the application is working and that they can proceed with their deployment processes, right? But if we don't have our unit tests in place, you're going to be handicapping the DevOps process. So that's why I would say that it is not directly associated with DevOps, but it is a part of DevOps. And if I was a DevOps engineer, right? If I was a DevOps engineer, I would say, if you don't have unit tests, I'm not setting up your application for deployment, because it is going to hinder our CI/CD process. Let's see what's going on here. Kilo is having trouble. This may indicate a failure in the model's thought process or inability to use the tool properly, which can be mitigated with some user guidance. Try breaking down the task into smaller tests. All right, so what do you want us to do? What is your malfunction? Where can I see details about what's going on? Let's see. Kilo wants to, all right, so let me see what's going on. So I will, let's see, it says, let's read what Kilo came up with, all right? So it says, all right, so I said I want unit tests. It says the user has made changes to the application status update component, and now the unit tests are failing. The task is to update the unit test to get them to pass. To do this, I need to understand the current state of the application status update component to know what changes will have to be made. Review the existing unit tests in application status update to see what is currently tested and what might be failing. Update the test to align with the new behavior or structure of the application status update. All right, that makes sense. I have the file paths for both component and the test file, correct? Yes. I will start by reading both files to understand the component and the current steps. All right, makes sense. I have the full source code of the application status update component and its test file. The component is a dialog that allows updating of the status of job application with fields for status, resume selection, and various date fields. It also supports generating interview questions when the status is interviewing. The component uses Supabase for data fetching and updating and has toast notifications for success and error states. The test file covers rendering the dialogue, handling status changes, generating interview questions, handling date fields, updates, resume selection, update errors, and loading states. Since the user said the tests are failing after changes to the component, and I didn't tell her this, but it might have been failing before, but I don't know. But can you just get it? Just get it to work. Just get it to work, right? Because I need to identify what changes in the component might have caused the test failures. The component looks consistent and complete, so the test might be outdated in mocking and expectations. I noticed the component uses Superbase functions in .invoke to generate interview questions, and the test mock Superbase from extensively from Superbase.from extensively. The test also mocks Superbase functions.invoke. I see some repeated mocking of Superbase.from in the test, which might be problematic or outdated. Fair enough. I will check if the tests are properly mocking the Superbase client method. I also noted from the component use of the toast hook, which tests do not seem to mock or check. I will check if the tests are missing mocks for that. All right. I will also check if the tests properly handle the dialog open state and the async calls. Given the complexity, I will update the test file to properly mock Superbase.from and Superbase function invoke with consistent mocks, mock use toast, and use usage tracking hooks to avoid errors. Adjust test expectations if the component behavior changed. Ensure the dialog open state is handled correctly. I will proceed. Okay, so we got that happening, got that happening. Let's see. Unsuccessful edit. All right. Okay, cool. Let me see what's going on. Search and replace content are identical. No changes would be made. Let's see what happened over here. Unable to apply diff to file. This one right here. Invalid line marker start line found in replace section at line 11. Are allowed in search sections. Is that? Let's see. New content to replace. I don't quite know what it is that you're trying to do here. I'm gonna say proceed anyways, because we can always like roll back these changes. All right. Since I have made updates to unit tests to properly mock the use of toast usage and ensure consistent mocking of Superbase methods are used in the application status update. This should resolve the test failures caused by recent changes to the component. The test now correctly all right, well, we shall see. We shall see. Right? I am going to do this again. Whoa! We went to, because before we had 17 pass, right? Let me see. Let me go back up. Do we still have it? Let me see. Maybe it doesn't go that far back. But I remember we had 17 before. And if we went up to 18, that is straight hot fire. So now let's go over to here and see. Well, this still failed. Let me see. It still failed. So hold on. Let's go to, where's the home dashboard? We have 18 passed. So at least a new test that was added passed, I guess. No, because it went down from 43 to 42. And we have 18 passed. So what passed? Let me see. Oh, this one happens. Should handle date fields update. That passed, so that's good. Let's see. What about if we were to do view test source code? Interesting. And it failed over here. Maybe we can get it to update an individual test. Maybe if we do like test by test, right? So I'm going to say, I am going to try to do, so this one passed. Let's go to here. Console. Code. Report. Oh, what is that? That looks pretty cool. That's cool. If I could find, oh, maybe I can copy it from here. All right, so let's go to, let's try to do them one by one, right? So what I'm gonna copy this test, and I will say we were able to get one test to pass. So now 1, 2, 3, or 2 of them are, hold on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like 7 of them are still failing in that, right? So can we fix tests individually? Can we focus on fixing this particular test? If I go here, it would be starting at line 38. Let's just do that, right? Let's see what it says. So if we can fix these tests like one by one, maybe that'll give us a better, maybe it's not going to do good when we just, oh, just fix this whole thing, right? But let's say we use a few credits on a few credits on Devin to get us started with our test, and then we're able to use a cheaper way to get one by one, right? All right, so let's see. It says we saw that the test snippet 4. Hold on. Wait, did we do this already? The test should render in here is already correctly written to mock the necessary super-based renders. If the test is still failing, please ensure that the test environment properly supports React testing library and invite test mocks. How can we do that? If you want me to make any specific changes or add additional mocks or assertions, please let me know. Yes. Please add, well, it's failing though. So I wonder if I can do, let me quit this. I wonder if I could do here, and then I say, what is the path to this test? SRC, components, application, status, update.test.tsx. Let's see what happens with that. So with this one test that we run, it's failing at get screen.get by text. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to copy this and say that, what is the error though? I don't know what the actual error that's causing the failure is though. So I will say
lunch break.
The test is failing at this spot. I don't see why though. Can you fix it to pass that? I don't know. Happy to see that I was able to get one test though. Let me see what this says before we go to break. Let's see. The test is failing at an assertion expecting the updating text to be in the document during the update process. The component, the update button text changes to updating when the loading state is true. The test The test likely clicks the update button and immediately checks for updating, but the state update might be asynchronous. To fix this, I should ensure the mock update function returns a promise that resolves after a short delay to stimulate async behavior. After clicking the update, immediately check for updating. All right, cool. I will update. The test should now show loading state during. All right, we see that. Let's see. I fixed the test should now load. All right, we did that. Additionally, I updated the mocks for use toast and use hooks to avoid TypeScript errors by using a more compatible casting approach. This should resolve the test failures related to loading. All right, let's check it out. Let us check it out. I am going to run off. Oh, it still failed. Let's see, where did it fail? Is that the same spot it failed last time? No, now it's at 375, but maybe because it added a bunch of stuff. Let me see. What did I ask it previously? Get by text updating to be in the document. This is the same thing. I'm gonna say it's still failing there. It is still failing at the same spot. I'm going to send that and then we're going to go to break, all right? So do what you can. You do what you can, all right? Anyways, let's go to break really, really quick. Let's see. Let me check the chat and then we'll get to our topic, right? Let me see. Marquavia says YouTube is letting me change my YouTube is not letting you change your name back to Magnetar. What? So that is probably because, well, no, could be for a couple of different reasons. I know if you are using the, like how my YouTube has like at TechoTrowf, you can only change it every 14 days and you probably changed it to Marquavius within the past 14 days. So that might be why you're not able to change it right now. You might have to wait a few more days, Marquavius, to change it back to Magnetar. And I'm just out of curiosity, right? Not meaning to pry, but why did you change it to Marquavius away from Magnetar? And you says, Google it. And Robot says, is Kilo Code a separate IDE or an extension? So it's integrated in, it can integrate into VS Code from what I've seen, to my demise or whatever that word would be. But I know they have some type of plugin for it for Cursor. I have never used Cursor, so I don't really know, but I know, but it is, they don't have a standalone IDE. It does integrate with VS Code and with Cursor, and you can bring your own tokens. I have yet to try out the Copilot that Monica mentioned to me last week to see how I could get if maybe Copilot would be better. I don't know, but it's using the same large language model. Like, I don't know. I got to try it out. Maybe in 2 weeks I'll try it out. All right. Let's see. And you says talk about mess. Mess around and find out. Marquavius gotta still be ghetto for a little bit longer.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
It is what it is. It is what it is. All right, so second break time topic for today. Let me see, where is this? So I saw this post on Reddit, right? So, and it floats around. It kind of goes with what they were talking about in the Fox Business video, but not that one, this one. Will AI coding platforms like Lovable replace web developers? That is a great question. So I'm going to share this. I'm going to share the Reddit post, and I'm going to share my commentary. We're going to look at the comments and we'll go from there, right? So let's go over here. And And if you are on Reddit, feel free to whatever they do on Reddit. It's just the same old Tech Coach Ralph, and I am responding to people, giving my insight on certain topics. So it says, is it possible that an AI like Lovable replace web developers? What are your thoughts? All right. So I will share. I'll put up 5 minutes, right? And I will start off with my thoughts. I think that the answer is yes and no, but mostly no. Why is it mostly no? Well, I don't know. I want to say mostly yes, but that is because, all right, it's mostly yes and mostly no. Does that make any sense? Absolutely not. All right. But the reason that I say mostly yes is because those who do not embrace these tools, these platforms, they will go slow. And if you can have AI work as your teammate, as your partner, as your sidekick, you will do great things. You can work on multiple things at multiple times. And being that you know where you can plug in and let me take care of this while AI is taking care of a more complex thing. And now maybe this thing is too complicated for AI. Let me jump in and put in my own knowledge and skill set and the ability to troubleshoot, the ability to figure things out, to fix things. I think that it is, most people do not have that. Most developers, most people, they do not have that desire, that drive. They want to just, they don't want things to change. Most people don't like change, right? But for me, do I like change? Do I not like change? I don't care. I am going to adapt to whatever the market brings. And that way we are going to win. We are going to run it up. So I say mostly yes, it will. But the innovative, really, really good ones, mostly no, it will not. And from what I've seen, as someone who's not even that good in JavaScript, not even that good in React, never used Vite before, by me being able to navigate this, just by me with the background that I have, being able to navigate this, being able to learn, I've learned so much from these platforms, so much about the code, so much about integrating with Stripe, so much about integrating with different large language models, so much about integrating with different APIs, from like generating PDFs to sending emails, all of that good stuff. I've learned so much. And the ability to do, I told you this, right? What I was able to do in less than 2 months, if I tried to do it on my own, with the way that my lifestyle, with as much as I do, it was probably going to be a 2-year project, meaning that it would probably never happen because I was not going to have the patience to do that. But being able to use my skill set, my knowledge with these AI platforms, I'm able to coach people. I'm able to give people opportunities. I'm able to work on projects that I never thought. And now that these projects are done, I'm able to give, or almost done, I'm able to give more people other opportunities on like, okay, how can I get into marketing and promotion and stuff like that of these various applications. If you think that you're just going to be, if you think it is inevitable that change is going to happen, right? I think it was Live Jennings. At the end of one of his videos, he said something about the only thing that is constant is change. And that is 100% fact. The world turns every single day. Even the world changes. The world does not stay solid or stationary, right? So I'm like, we have to move with the world. Technology is on the rise. So I say that the web developers who embrace these tools, they're going to create way better things that I've created, right? So now you're able to team up with somebody who has a great idea, and you are able to use your web development skills to build something really, really good, really, really fast. Keep producing. Right? So let's see what some of the comments said, right? So this person said, the developers themselves will become far more efficient by utilizing AI. And I'm gonna put a quick little caveat, because I agree with this person, but the developers who adapt, the developers who adapt. What if you were a taxi driver, right? And you were hoping that the taxi companies won their lawsuits to prevent Uber and Lyft and everybody else from being able to operate, right? And you're like, whoa, I paid all this money for this medallion.
Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on, get a move on. You're back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
You say, I paid all this money for my taxi medallion. I am not going. I'm not doing it. I work for this. You know, I'm from New York and I am a taxi, whatever, right? Loyal to the taxi, right? Instead of, you know what? I'm gonna drive my taxi for whatever company I'm a taxi driver for, right? Between this time and that time. But in the meantime, I'm going to sign up for Uber as well. So when I'm not driving my taxi, I'm already starting my Uber profile so that I can start getting the Uber money, 0 bags fumbled. Start getting the Uber money, start getting the what do you call it? The ratings and stuff like that. Start getting the tips. And now you already know the roads like the back of your hand. So you have the Uber GPS and all that good stuff, like the whole infrastructure. But guess what? Uber is just another dispatch without however the taxi companies used to do it. I don't even know. I don't remember the last time I actually saw a taxi cab. What if you were a delivery driver for Domino's or Pizza Hut? Because why do I say Domino's or Pizza Hut? Because like when you thought about food delivery, you thought about pizza, right? You thought about pizza, Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars. That's what you thought about, right? So you're like, oh no, this Uber Eats, this DoorDash, all those, they're not gonna come in. We're gonna petition the government to stop them from happening. And look, now when they don't say order delivery, they don't say order delivery. They say, I'm just gonna go on Uber Eats. I'm just gonna DoorDash it. I am just going to DoorDash it. All right. So, and if you are already a delivery driver and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna stick to Pizza Hut. No, why don't you also sign up for Uber Eats? Continue delivering for Pizza Hut if you want. Great. Why don't you? But you're not working for Pizza Hut 24/7. You're not working for Domino's 24/7. You could have while the transition is happening, sign up for Uber Eats, sign up for DoorDash. Now you can be servicing many people, all types of food industries. You're already a good delivery person because you've been doing it for ages. So that's why I'm like, they're going to be so much more efficient by using AI. It will reduce the required workforce. That's why the job market sucks for junior developers and will continue to worsen because the amount of work a single developer can do is dramatically increasing. However, guess what? More people are going to need work, and you might not be. This mindset comes from junior developers only thinking that they can work for Amazon, they can only work for Google, they can only work for Silicon Valley, they can only work for major companies. But guess what? Why don't you build that experience? Why don't you become not a junior by using these platforms and service small businesses? Work for smaller companies, work for startups, because you can go faster. That means the startup can get started faster. So that's how I see it. All right. It says the effects that solutions like Lovable has on front end is obviously far greater than the increased complexity and integrations of backend systems. So the need for specialized front end devs will shrink even more than backend. So. Agreed on all points. The only counterpoint would be that tools like Lovable may increase the demand for developers to step in and take MVPs to production ready output. I agree with that. That said, I more fully agree with your point about developer efficiency and one developer being able to get far more done with AI. Or the other side is a company can get far more done with multiple developers using AI to enhance. I'm sorry, the other day at work, I saw someone said, oh, can we get the transcript of a video using AI that was in a different language? Can we get it to English? And within minutes, an hour-long video is in English transcripts at least, right? And they were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Here we go. So this one says, when computers came on the scene, spreadsheets replaced hundreds of people manually doing accounting and other businesses, inventory management. Internet obliterated entire industries. Yet both have created more jobs than they have removed and made life generally better or worse if you look at it from at how disinformation has caused wars. So while AI might not replace every front-end dev, it will create more opportunities for future generations if government industry leaders are able to properly prepare them. And I'll say this: if you are relying on government and industry leaders to properly prepare future generations, you have already lost the battle. You're lost. It's over. Done. Finito. Right? It is my job to prepare my future generation. Do I care about all the other future generations? I couldn't give two flying. I care about my future generation. And that's why I'm already training mine so that they can know how to use these tools. They can know how to integrate it, right? My son, 3 years old, I'm just waiting for the minute. He's already getting the concepts through games on how to code. I'm just waiting for him to be ready to start writing code, start using AI, all of that good stuff, right? So anyways, let's leave it at that for now, all right? So let's see what time. What time? Let me see. We're gonna throw in one more segment. We're gonna throw in one more segment for today. All right, let's get to work. Let me check the chat really quick, and then we will get back to one more segment before we wrap it up. Right. So, Junior says all of these companies will continue to phase out if they don't innovate and keep up with the ever evolving demands. And the companies will phase out as well as the people who are relying on these companies. I'll tell you this. If you remember the movie Barbershop 2, I believe, when they had that fancy barbershop opening next door, and everybody, like, they thought that barbershop was gonna be like all big and popping, and the other guy, he went over to that barbershop, and then everybody was still going to Ice Cube's barbershop. Well, guess what? You know what that's called? That is called a movie. What I would like to see from that movie is a year later, how were they faring? That big fancy barbershop versus the little barbershop where people just hang out all day and do whatever it is that they do, right? How is that faring? So I would say in the long run, the big bank is going to take the little bank. Bruh. You got to get with the times. Right? Who still owns a tube TV with the turning knob? Who still owns that? Nobody. Maybe at some vintage shop. Anyways, let's throw up our last segment of today. Let's see if we can get any other test to pass. All right.
It's time to do.
Okie dokie. So we are looking at this code over here, trying to see if we can get this test. It looks like it's failing at the. Oh wait, no. Wait, screen find. Oh, I think it failed. Let me see. Screen find by text updating. What was it before? Screen get by text. Okay, so now it's failing somewhere else, actually. I have updated the test. Should show a loading state during update to use screen. Well, that's still failing there. This change waits for updating text to appear asynchronously, which aligns with React state update behavior. Oh, let me see. Let me try to run it again. See what happens. Let's go over here. Let me see. Let's see. Go back over here. I don't think, you know what? I'm gonna try to use a different. What if we try to switch to Claude? I'm trying to switch to Claude. Model to use. I think they said 3.5 is the good one. Let's save that. Input price. Claude is expensive. Claude is expensive. Let's try that. All right. Anyways, let's try that. I have some credits in Claude, so let's try that. All right. Let's say done. And I am going to say, I'm going to copy the previous one that I had. And I'm going to say, can you get my unit test to pass for the, let me copy it. For the test. I'm going to say it's failing at here. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we use Claude, if that's going to make any difference. But I didn't use you earlier. It says, I apologize for the confusion earlier. The should render status update test should not be checking for the updating text at all. Okay. That assertion belongs to the should show loading state during update. The should render update should verify the dialog opens when clicking the trigger. The dialog title is present. The status combo is present. I will update the test. I would update that test to remove any loading state checks to keep it focused on the original purpose of verifying. Okay. I see that I misunderstood earlier. The test is still failing at, okay, however, okay, looking at the test file, I see that the should render status update dialog does not contain, okay. That line appears, okay. The should render, did I get the wrong test? No. Oh, wait a second. All right, let me see. Oh yeah, this is the error that I was getting yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, last week when I was trying to use Claude. I keep getting a stupid. I don't under. I have the credits, right? But then I'm getting rate limited. What kind of nonsense is that? I have the credits. The request would exceed the rate limit your organization of 80,000 tokens. What in the? How many tokens did this use? This didn't use. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Let's see if it's able to do anything. If not, I'll switch to Gemini. I just want my test to pass. All right, let's see what happens. So I'm gonna go back over here. I think I saw something. So if I run this again, wait, what? Wait, 7 skipped. Okay, so this one still failed. It says that unable to find combo box and name. Okay. We're getting different errors, so that's good. So, well, that's good. I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to copy. Wait for, verify. Copy that. And make sure there's nothing at the bottom. Okay, let's go back over here. Hopefully Anthropic does better this time. I am getting, well, it got past that step, but now it's failing on when it's failing when trying to find certain elements. Here is the, what do I call this? The exception. And here is here is the console output. Let's see if that helps. Let's see if that helps. The test is now failing because it can't find the combo box element with name status. This suggests that either the status form component is not rendering the combo correctly, combo accessibility attribute is not set correctly, or we're using the wrong query to find the element. I see the issue now. The status form component uses a custom select component rather than the native HTML select element. This means that the element won't have the combo box role by default. Looking at the test, we're trying to find the element with that. Instead, we should look for the element by its status. Yada, yada, yada. Let me modify the test. Let's see what happens with API requests. So we're at like 46 cents. Like if Anthropic was decently priced for me and I would stop getting these rate limiting errors, I'd probably set it in here to use if it's able to fix this. But last Sunday after the show, I was going back and forth, like retry, because it kept on saying like it was too busy or whatever. It was annoying. All right, I have fixed the render status update dialog test by updating how we verify the status. Yeah, this matches the actual structure of the status form component, which uses a select. Okay, so let's go back over here. Let me run this one to see if it failed somewhere else now. Unable to find element with text select status. This could be because the text is broken up by multiple elements. Make your match more flexible. All right, I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go back over here. And I'm going to say, I wonder if I could find that spot in the code. So line 61. Let me see. Screen get by text status. Is there a text status? Let's see. So we're not getting, now we are getting this error. And this is the terminal output. Send that. Let's see what it says. The error indicates that the select status can't be found directly looking at the status form component. I see that the text is actually select value component. The placeholder text might not be directly accessible as a text content. Let's modify. Okay. We don't need to check for the placeholder since it's part of the internal select component structure. Right. Let's see. So let's see what it's able to do. Whoa. It looks like it passed. Let's see. Is it? I don't know. I don't believe it yet. I don't believe it yet. Waiting for this thing to be done so that, and so far it's only 52 cents, so that's not bad. So now I'm going to run the whole test again and see what we get. But if this is what I have to do to get my unit test passing, that's going to be awesome. Waiting. Are we done? Let me see. Let's see. I guess it's done. Sweet. All right, let's see. Let's keep trying. Because I don't know if it took some stuff off or if, oh, it's so annoying, if it took some stuff off or if it actually fixed it. See, this thing is super annoying to me. I wonder if there's all right, let me see if there's a way I can change my anthropic settings so I don't keep having this issue. This is stupid. Because what if it's passing because they took everything out, right? What if it's passing because they took everything out? Let's see. Should update. I don't need this one anymore. Let's see. Should render status update. All right, I fixed it. So if we run it again, let's go back over here. Let's run that. That's passing. If we run the whole thing over here. So now we have 2 tests passing and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 failing. Let's see. So now now I'm going to say so cool. Let me, you're right. Let me make sure. So this is let me just check over here. Make sure there's something in there, right? Mock super base calls, render, application status update, default props. Okay. I think it's working. All right. So now we are going to say for the test, we are getting this error, this exception. Copy that, and it is failing here. It is failing here in the code. Can you fix it so it can pass? Let's see how that one goes. And in the meantime, I am going to take a look at this Copilot stuff over here. And how can I set up Copilot so that I can use my own settings? View. Zoom out. All right. So rate limit. This rate limit thing is driving me crazy. Where would I set up my Copilot? Show project config. Let me try. Just whatever. I don't see that. I can Google it. I can search it. While I was doing that, while we try to get this to work, let me go over here and how can I use Copilot in VS Code with my own API keys? It says, in general, GitHub Copilot and VS Code doesn't use your own API keys in the same way you might use API keys in other services like OpenAI or Claude. Instead, GitHub Copilot works directly through your GitHub account and is associated with. However, there's a feature within GitHub Copilot Chat in VS Code that allows you to bring your own keys for specific language model providers. This lets you experiment with the latest models from those providers, even if they aren't directly built into Copilot yet. The following steps can explain how you can use your custom API keys with GitHub Copilot. In the Copilot icon next to your search bar in VS Code, click the Copilot icon, manage models, choose your API provider, add your API key, select AI model that you want to use. Once these steps are completed, the selected models will be available to you, allowing you to use them with, okay. I mean, it's not like you can do it. You just took the long way to say it, but okay. All right, let's go back, see if we can figure that out. This is so annoying. That's why it can't be great. All right, so where is this Copilot thing they're talking about?
Lunch break! Lunch break!
Copilot icon in the GitHub Copilot chat window. Okay. Click the. I don't see a model name. Anyways, whatever. We got two tests fixed, and Anthropic's being a jerk to me right now. Let me see. Give me a second here. Give me a second here. I'm just. I don't like being limited, right? I especially don't like being rate limited. Let me see. Let me see API keys. Don't make any sense. I don't understand why it keeps giving me that error. Anyways, whatever. We're done for today. We are done for today. Go to full screen. And want to talk about one more thing, but we're going to do one more last topic before we wrap it up for today. Ooh, wait, no, never mind. We're going to do one more topic before we wrap it up for today, right? So this, and then I'll read the chat and then we'll get out of here. But this one was also on Reddit. It says, what's an app you've built to solve your own real life pain? All right, so I'm going to throw up this banner here. Reddit, build apps to make life easier. Let's read this together and then we're going to get out of here, right? So it's, what's an app you've built just to solve your own real life pains? Not chasing unicorns here, not optimizing the blockchain with AI generated crypto pizza. Crypto pizza sounds pretty disgusting. I mean, the type of apps you built for you first because you were tired of some everyday annoyance and said, screw it, I'll make something better. Drop a link, a few words about the problem and whether anyone else is using it now. I'll start so this person did this, Hordo.com. I was tired of digging through 17 unlabeled IKEA boxes every time I needed a charger cable or a Christmas tree foot. Built it because storage organization became my biggest hobby after having a kid and losing control of my life.
Bruh.
Now a 100% free web app to keep track of what's in your boxes, where they are, and what crap your partner blames you for misplacing. I am a serial blamer for misplacing, so I might have to check out this app, right? Or I might have the people that I blame check out the app. It says, would love to hear what weirdly useful things you've built just to make your life easier. Let's share the pain and maybe steal some ideas. All right, so I will say that I'm gonna check this out first, right? Find your without the meltdown. Your stuff, your boxes, your sanity restored. Helps you track what's where, even if your life is a beautiful disaster. Let's see, the storage core, boxes, everything lives in boxes, even your soul. Rooms, track which rooms your chaos is hidden in. Box locations, shelf, corner, top of fridge, you choose. Box type, a basement, garage, attic, dad's house, whatever. Organizational wizardry, move items between boxes. Box types, move boxes between rooms. Real life friendly. Shared access, that's pretty cool. One-click login, no password rage required. Edit history, track what you did. Printable everything. Print QR codes, slap them on a box, scan them, flex hard. I wish I could see a demo of this. What is this? Hordo versus boxes, storage made simple. My Stuff 2 Pro. Let me see. I wish I could just see. Oh, I wish I could just see how it looks. Oh, there's light mode and dark mode. I might sign up just because of the light mode and dark mode. Let me see. They have Google. Let me see if I click on Google. Or this one. Let's see how it looks in here. We're excited to help you organize your belongings and find them easily. Let me see. Let's take a quick tour. Let me see. Organizing, you've already done it. Toss stuff into a box. You don't need to overthink categories. Slap a number on each box. Yeah. Feature actually built with a human who needed them. Want to nerd out. So your storage room, my first storage room, add a box. Let me see. Computer supplies. And we will say under the bed. Yes, yeah. Add box. I go to this box. Interesting. Show QR code. Oh, that's pretty cool. This is a pretty cool app. I must say, this is a pretty cool app. Shout out to the person who made this. But I will share one of the things that I've made that is making my life so much easier. And Junior can attest to it because I showed it yesterday inside our Vibe Code and Chill session that we do just about every other weekend in the Tech Draft Patreon. I have a content creation assistant where it helps me. It used to take me the whole Sunday afternoon. I showed yesterday how in less than a minute I was able to get my title, description, timestamps, and thumbnail in about a minute's time, and saved and pushed up to YouTube. I was able to show how I was able to get a live stream to add the timestamps within seconds, right? So that is one of the tools, applications that I have built that is helping me tremendously. Have I shared with other people yet? Not yet, because I'm still putting some final touches on it. And then I'll start to pick and choose some people that I'll give access to it. But that is my app that has made my life a lot easier and maybe will make some other people's lives easier as well. So with that being said, we are going to wrap it up for today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Software Explorations with Tech Coach Ralph. Hopefully you had a great time during our Vibe Code session, our Vibe testing session as well. I don't know. I have to move on from Anthropic because I'm being rate limited for no good reason. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Do me a favor on. Let me check the chat. So Junior had said, tricked you. And they took everything out. They did not. Thankfully, they did not. All right, but do me a favor on your way out if you have not done so already. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live and drop new content, as well as TechCoachRalph.dev. Join me for our Vibe Code and Chills. Watch the replay that's going to be released on Tuesday. Watch the replay of our last sprint review. We have another sprint review coming up this coming Sunday. We are very, very close to deployment. Our official, quote unquote, official launch day is August 10th. We'll probably do a soft launch maybe before then, just putting up some final touches, and then we will go from there. So check it out. TechCoachRalph.dev. See all the cool things we're working on. I'm actually going to be working on some ways to give access to Patreon members to the tool that we're building. All that good stuff. Right. Anyways, I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Sunday. Remember, tomorrow we are going to be working on editing in the morning, and we're going to have kind of conversations at noon Eastern time, talking about I just want to go fast. You go fast into a brick wall. All right. I'm out of here. You guys take care. Tech Coach Ralph. We are out.
Spartans! What is your profession?
People walk in like a fleeting breeze. People go like a summer breeze. Whisper through my life, then vanish with ease. I ain't stuck replaying those fading tracks. Eyes on the road, no looking back. I don't care too much about who stays or leaves. Life's a wave I ride, no room for grief. What's ahead is gold, what's gone is dust. Never lean too hard and never break that trust.
They say you need roots, but I'm chasing skies. I'll plant my feet when the moment's right. I'm a rolling stone, not a chain to bind. Freedom in my veins is the state of mind.
They come with words like they mean just a fleeting endeavor. I won't lean on what I can't control. I'm whole on my own, I keep my soul. I don't care too much about who stays or leaves. Life's a wave I ride, no room for grief. What's ahead is gold, what's gone is dust. Never lean too hard, never break that trust.
Dependency's a prison I won't call home. No one knows my journey, I'm on my own. Forward is the anthem, the beat I drum. The past is a shadow, the future's the sun.
I've seen faces fade like mist at dawn. Memories linger, but the moment's gone. I'm not bitter, just wiser with time. Each goodbye's a lesson that sharpens my mind.
Waves will crash and tides will shift. I'm the captain steering through the rift. No anchors here, I sail to the new. The horizon's bright with a better view.
I don't care too much about who stays or leaves. Life's a wave I ride, no room for grief. What's ahead is gold, what's gone is dust. Never lean too hard, never break that trust.
The ones who stay are the real foundation. Others just lessons in life's rotation. I'm not bitter, I just understand. The future's my treasure, it's in my hands.